Austin, part of Free Saltine's crew. I live on Staten Island, New York City. Uh, kind of not a very Smash heavy place, kind of secluded from the rest of the boroughs. Main Mewtwo, one of the pioneers, I guess, of Mewtwo Tech and Project M. And yeah, it's my main game. I play some Smash 4 on the side as well, and I main Rosalina on that.
All right. So, just to open up, start from the beginning. You said you hit up on where you were born. You're born in Staten Island. Um, when did you first start getting into video gaming?
When did I first start getting into gaming? Well, I played my first video game was well, I had like two video games that I had at the start, but it was more like when I was just casual. When I was like very young. I had Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, ironically having Melee at the end for the GameCube, and Pokemon Crystal for the Game Boy Color. And I kind of like fell in love with those two games. They just interested me so much in how like a game like was because I haven't really like ever seen a video game before or owned one. Yeah, it was
Um,
really exciting to own.
okay. So, what exactly got you into a competitive video game situation then? If you
Hmm.
grew up, I guess Godzilla was more of a mash 'em up, blow 'em
Yeah,
up
more Smash Bros.
kind of a game, and then all of a sudden you step into a competitive scene. What got you into that?
Okay, so it wasn't actually the Godzilla game that did that. It was around a time when I had because I started with Pokemon as well. So there was a competitive scene for Pokemon, as you probably all know. And at first, that was the game like I was really interested in, and I wanted to play as like a competitive player. And around that time when I was interested in it, it was around the Diamond and Pearl era, which was about '06, '07. Yeah, so I was a little older around that time. And they had this thing called Shoddy Battle, which is very rudimentary. It was just two sprites and HP bars, and that was before Smoggin like ran the whole world. It was pretty old school, even for DS standards.
So you started getting into competitive games playing
Yeah.
a shoddy DS game. You said.
Shoddy Battle. It's a simulator for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Okay. And do you still keep up with Pokemon, or how did that go?
I like to keep up with it in the yeah, I like to keep up with it, but I don't necessarily play it anymore.
Okay. When was the first time you actually get into Smash?
Um, hmm. It was I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I saw Taj's video, Shadow Claw, the Mewtwo combo video. That's if you haven't seen it yet, you really should. Even though it's pretty old right now, it's still amazingly fun to see. And since I was like a competitive Pokemon player and I love the series and stuff, and it was Mewtwo in Smash actually putting in work, I was like, okay, this game looks pretty exciting. I want to get into it. So I started playing Melee. I didn't really have anyone to play with at the time, so I picked up Mewtwo. But even then, when no one to play, I realized, hey, this character kind of sucks. So um, I started picking, like, looking at other characters in the game and looking into like the specifics, like frame data and advanced techniques, and how to play it SSBN video that everyone has probably seen at this point, with the Samus air dodging diagonally and all that. Um, so yeah, around that time, I really wanted to play other people. So and this other game that was Brawl had Wi-Fi. So as bad as an idea that was, I started getting into Brawl Wi-Fi a little bit. I used Fox mostly, and it wasn't actually until Project M that I really started getting into like the tournament scene. That was about a year and a half ago, actually. About 2.6.
what exactly kept you playing then? I mean, a lot of players complain that they don't have players to play with and they don't have people around them, and they they
Yeah,
find it.
Wi-Fi really helped with that. As bad as like the online was, it at least had me like it gave me like a competitive spirit.
So you start off as a Mewtwo main in Melee with no one to play against. You realize the character's not good just from playing as him. Um, and then Brawl comes out, and Brawl, in all
Oh,
intents and
Brawl was already
purposes,
out at that time.
Brawl comes out, or Brawl is out. You pick that up for a bit. You main Fox in it. Um, when was the first time you went to a tournament?
The first time I went to I didn't go to any brawl tournaments when I was like playing the game. I was just a Wi-Fi player. But in Project M, my first tournament was Sudden Death 13 in I think it was September 2013. Yeah. Um, it was in 2.6. I actually used Meta Knight in that, and I got fifth out of like 25 people, so that wasn't too bad. Actually,
Okay.
that's when I actually first met Gallo, who I lost to in losers bracket.
Did you give him a run for his money back then, or did he just completely house you?
Uh, Game one, it was like a pretty solid two stock, and game two was actually like last stock, last hit. So
Okay.
yeah,
We
we've both
were
seen a lot of improvement since then.
kind of joking around about this question earlier today. When did you start to realize you were actually pretty good at the game?
When did I start to realize? Okay, so before I got into Project M tournaments, I was still playing Wi-Fi. Yeah, as a Lucario player in 2.1. Um, there's this online community called the Best DI, which was a Wi-Fi chat room where you just find other people to play. It was really efficient at the time because it was more popular than it is right now. It's a little dead right now. But I used to be pretty horrible. I had tech skill, like I was capable of performing like some combos, but I really did not have any semblance of neutral or how to like read people or any of that. So I was kind of flowcharty. As Lucario is easy to get into that too, like just like not thinking much and autopiloting. It wasn't until I played really good players like Zahime. He was one of the first pro players I've ever played, and he demolished me like so often. And eventually in 2.5, and yeah, I was a little like in the lifespan of 2.5 where I started to just something just hit me, as in I started to recognize what was making me lose. I tried to watch my opponent more than I was watching myself, and that really helped me to develop as a player and see what other players would be doing. Like even if I didn't know what exactly was causing me to lose, I saw what was causing them to win.
I mean, you just mentioned that you played Lucario in 2.1 and you went forward with him a little bit. Was the fact that you would like start to get into these like autopilot kind of moods and maybe not put as much mental thought into it? Is that kind of one of the reasons why you just kind of said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to the Mewtwo main?
In 3.0, well, Mewtwo wasn't in Project M until 3.0,
hmm
so I really didn't have an option to use him at all.
So when he came
Um,
out, was it first like, oh man, this is it? I can go back to the
yeah,
roots,
it
or
really
was
was.
it comboed with the fact that you just couldn't, like, you started to realize like you weren't putting that thought process into it the way you were at first with Lucario?
Um, well, later on, I started to develop better with Lucario and not go as autopilot as I once was. But when Mewtwo came out in 3.0, it was kind of just like almost love at first sight. I actually used Peach in Melee.
Just as a disclaimer, I'm not crying at your love story of Lucario, where there's onions being cooked in the background, so I got like the tears going.
I hate to see it.
It's a very busy night, but obviously we'll talk about why we have to fit around your schedule a little bit in a sec or two. So you pick up Mewtwo, it's love at first sight all over again. So love at second sight.
It was almost super. I don't know what word describes coincidental that he had a float because when I dropped Mewtwo in Melee to find like a better character until I went to Brawl, I used Peach, and you all know she has a float, so it kind of felt like a throwback.
what would you say would be like the but like you were talking about like going to tournaments or anything, but like when did you start realizing you were getting really good though? Like, is there a specific match where you're like, oh man, everything's kind of clicking in my head right now, or was it a set? Did you lose in that set?
It
Did you win
wasn't
in that
really
set?
a set. It was when I was playing some friendlies with Sahime because we haven't played in a while. Like before that one friendly set happened in 2.5. Like the last time we played was like late 2.1. And
hmm
all of a sudden, like I just noticed that I was actually able like to take games off him that I wasn't able to come close to before. And he's like, "Bros, what happened?" And I really couldn't explain it because I guess it was just some sort of exponential improvement.
Okay. Another thing that we mentioned is, well, do you remember the first time you actually beat a significant player in tournament,
Hmm. Um.
where people kind of turned their heads and said, who's that?
Well, I don't think I've had any moments like that with Lucario. Oh, actually, I have. Um. I beat Salem at Apex 2014. That was probably significant at the time. Yeah, I had a crowd behind me and everything because at the time Lucario wasn't a very popular or known character. So seeing one do pretty well against a known player like Salem, who just won the previous Apex and Brawl, was I guess pretty hype for me. Even though I ended up losing to him in losers finals at my pool after losing to Eli in winners finals.
Okay. And we were talking a little bit off stream earlier today, and you actually mentioned that you pretty much don't play any other games unless you're playing like a massive title on the PS2, I think you mentioned, and the GameCube that you kind of missed out on when it was first out.
I wouldn't really say massive titles, but what you actually asked me about like PC games if I played any, and
Mhm.
I don't know why this didn't hit me at that time, but I actually played Minecraft a lot of all games. Yeah,
Do you play any other fighting games? Anything that's similar in style to Smash, or you
I
just
play any other fighting games. Not really, but if there was one I would want to get into, it definitely would be Street Fighter. I
what
think
what
that
is,
game interests me so much.
what is about it is it that just would interest you?
It's just if like I don't know, I can't really tell what it is. It's just interesting for me to watch compared to like Marvel or something. Like I feel like I could follow it better.
Okay. Are you excited about the Pokken?
Absolutely, I plan to pick that up if it ever gets released on Wii U.
If it gets released on Wii U, oh jeez.
Yeah, we don't
Uh,
really know yet. It could be just arcade in Japan. We don't know Nintendo.
and you did mention that you did have other games that you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to Halo 5, correct?
Right.
Any first-person
Yeah.
shooter history in your blood, or you just kind of jump into it?
I played Call of Duty like when I was younger, but
I
yeah, not very
I love that you keep referring to your age. So
much.
so to give like a little bit of recap, you placed seventh at Zenith.
Yeah.
You placed fourth at Guts 3. You placed
Mhm.
third at PMS 3.
Yeah.
And you're doing all this while being part of a dev team,
Yep.
while going to high school and dealing with classes and finals and things of that nature, and trying to have a social life, a gaming life, and you're still trying to mac at all the ladies in school. Like, how do you find the time to be good and like really good at that? And then do you ever like take a step back and go, I'm 17 and everyone around me is like old.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot, and Free Saltines makes every attempt they can to bring up the fact that like I'm the baby of the crew and everything. They don't let that go. No pun intended.
It's
Um, um, so basically, what I feel like I do a lot, especially now, is that I focus on Smash like on the weekends mostly, and then school stuff is basically it's like a routine schedule. Like I focus mostly on school stuff and social life stuff during the weekdays, and then Smash on the weekends.
do you feel like that makes it do you feel like that makes it I'm sorry, Guru Kid just called me off guard in chat. Do you feel like it actually makes it a little less fun for you, the fact that you have like a schedule set around Smash, or do you kind of say, you know
Oh
what, this
no,
is like my
I feel like I've
recreational stuff?
always been. I feel like I've always been like a rigid kind of schedule person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are part of the dev team.
Yeah.
What exactly is your responsibility as part of that dev team?
So I'm a playtester. Um, as the playtester, I have a little bit of knowledge of PSA to make some minor edits to characters. And basically, what I do is that I usually specialize in playtesting characters like Mewtwo, Zero Suit, Lucario, characters I'm a little more proficient in. But I do hop around the rest of the cast and play those characters somewhat, and basically offer my feedback and
Uh,
play testing with other members that are close by to me.
okay, and we did discuss a little bit off stream a little earlier today. You actually found a couple of bugs recently, and I mean that's kind of your
Yeah.
job. You're supposed to try to find those bugs and things like that.
Bug testing is a huge part of being a playtester, and even with the massive amount of bugs that have been in public releases, there would have been so many more if it wasn't for the playtesters' hard work.
Is there any other playtesters besides you?
Oh, of course there are. Yeah, there are so many I can't even name them all.
Do you want to give a couple of shout outs? I mean, you don't have to be, you know, the whole center of attention. You can say
Oh,
hi to some of them.
I mean, well, there's ones that are more well known as being proficient players like Sethlon, Oro, Strong Bad. Um, but Oh, and Guru Kid and Lilu who are in FS as well.
I was like, you can't leave out Guru, man. You'll never
Yeah,
hear
of
the
course
end of
I
it.
can.
Um, hashtag ethnic. Um, so we kind of covered over everything like that. Have you ever had your age become an issue at tournament? Have you ever had someone kind of try to get under your skin by calling you a child or anything like that?
Oh no, I
Or
actually thankfully haven't had an experience like that where I felt victimized by someone. The Smash community as a whole is pretty nice IRL as much as they shit talk online.
yes, the online community for any type of game is
It's quite different, yeah.
pretty terrible. Not different. Terrible is the word.
Yeah.
Um, earlier today we were talking about different events that might even be coming up in the New York City area. Me and you were discussing about maybe doing a bi-weekly for PM here in Brooklyn. Um, and I guess we were just going to talk about what the advantage really is to have a PM only event in your eyes, especially as a dev member, as someone that's trying to grow the game and actually part of that process. Is there anything you really enjoy about maybe opening up new streams and new tournaments and new events?
Absolutely. I love for the game that I just love playing in general to get so much exposure. I know it feels like with Apex 2015 or Apex 2015 around the corner and the lack of PM there, it feels like we might be dying as a community, but we've been through harder times, especially when we were like still grassroots and we were basically only a side event at most tourneys. Melee FC, which as some people remember might actually have been a PM national at the time, only had about I want to say about 64 entrants. Yeah, it was much smaller than people think.
So sorry, getting spammed by people.
I don't worry.
So we were discussing a couple of things coming up as a younger player. What do you feel the community is going in a direction? You,
Um, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
no problem. So, like, from your opinion, like we've discussed this a couple of times on Salt Mines, we discussed it, in person, like,
Mm.
and it's really like a constant thing that's being brought up on Reddit and different social media things about where the PM community actually is. At first, there was a very, I guess, hesitant feel about it, very tentative. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of nerves about it, and the more and more I personally read, um, in terms of, I guess, the strength of the community, the more I
Hmm.
realize, I guess, this could just be me, but I feel like there's a lot of reaction rather than action. And what do you feel about
Right.
that?
I feel that people are being a little apprehensive. There were two things that contributed to that. There was I touched on earlier with Apex, and PM's lack of appearance there, as well as CEO, I believe, not posting either. But um, and as well as 3.5's release, there's been a lot of tension in the community with the supposed attitude that melee characters might be a little too powerful, or we didn't give the same treatment to them as we did to other characters in the PM cast. But um, honestly, it's almost a whole new game. 3.5. We need to like adapt better and develop the characters in the same way that the melee characters have developed in the past 10 years. And because um, of previous patches and such changes to characters, we feel a little alienated, but we need to just step up our game and we need to just.
It's okay. You're allowed to pop off a little bit on here. It's okay. No one holds it against you.
Don't worry. um, so, the other part of your question, what was it again?
um, Actually, I could just cut the other part and clear it up a little bit
Mm.
better too. Um, as a developer and as of someone that's really involved in the community, do you feel PM is better off today than it was maybe when you first got into the scene? Is it
Oh,
around the same? Is it worse? How do you feel like it's going?
okay. So when I first got into community, locals were still they were roughly about the same size they are now almost. I feel that our prime was 3.0 when Apex had it and all these majors were around. We had a summer of Smash basically, and I think that was probably a huge part of why PM looked a lot bigger than it was now. With school and other things in the winter that are hindering people from showing up to tournaments. It feels like our community has grown a little smaller, but I believe we're still there. Yeah.
And speaking about that with school and things, everyone kind of going back to their normal lives now. Um, are you looking forward to maybe a summer season where there'll be a couple of PM only things and maybe some other weeklies and things like that popping up here and there?
Oh, there probably will be. And touching on weeklies or bi-weeklies, Nebulous is still around and we're still going strong. And the bi-weeklies we were thinking of setting up in Brooklyn, I'm really hoping to have that be a real thing and draw and hype because anything that could support the PM community, I'm all for.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys probably haven't really heard too much about it. It was something that was brought up the other day with Gallo a little bit and with Frozen earlier today about the possibility of doing a PM only bi-weekly in Brooklyn, New York, because having those weeklies is really great, but the one thing that we always discuss is just having something that's specifically only for PM and kind of to just take the attention from other things, and
Mm-hmm.
having something on Saturday is definitely a way to kind of keep it
Yeah,
to
and
itself.
Saturday seems like a more desirable day too than Sunday because you don't want to go stay out late Sunday and go back to work Monday feeling all groggy and everything.
you
So
know, or go to class.
yeah,
Uh,
especially with it the event having two games at once, so it drags out a little longer as a whole,
okay.
and other games get hog the stream time. So it will be good for PM to get its own exposure all the time as like a reliable thing.
So really quick, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that like the 10 rapid fire questions,
Oh,
and then we're gonna go ahead and open up to Q&A because I have a feeling you're gonna have probably a few more questions than the average person just because you are in the dev team and people are gonna want some interesting opinions from you.
mhm.
So the first question is, what is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Oh my god. All right, it's gonna be weird, but potato because there's this Skype group I have with Lunchables, the TX Toon Link player, and Meechman from SoCal, and there was a NetPlay chat. I don't know if you know Anther's NetPlay chat, but they used to be able to get banned by saying the word potato randomly, and Lunchables would just keep saying that over and over again and get banned repeatedly for saying it,
He's
and it
going
just
off in
became
chat
like
right
a
now.
favorite. Yeah, it became our favorite word after a while.
What is uh, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. I don't really think I can't think of one on the spot, honestly.
You gotta give me a least favorite word. Can't just cop out.
I really can't. No.
What is
um, actually, maybe I can. Auto combo. That's probably it.
I guess
I've heard that
favorite
word.
favorite compound phrase or something?
Yeah.
What this is, oh god, I don't know if this is even legal to ask you.
Uh,
Well, you know what? We'll ask the old school version of this question. Normally the question is just what turns you on, but I have a feeling I'll get swatted or something, get the door kicked down. So the question is gonna be what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
oh.
So what gets you going? What gets the mind rolling? Where you're like, okay, like maybe you have a paper to write, and you're just like, man,
Uh,
I can't get anything. And then all of a sudden, maybe you do something, you're like, okay, I'm finally flowing a little bit.
okay. So I think one of the best things for me is like drum and bass music. That's one of my favorite things to just listen to. Is like if I need to do anything and just focus on something, I listen to that, and it allows me to just focus better. I think
Might
that's
be a
why
little,
I'm thinking of like wearing headphones at tournaments more, listening to that.
you might be a little young, but do you remember a group called Pendulum? They're really good. Drum and
Mm,
bass. Pendulum. That's what got it started. You got to get into that.
heard it, but I
Breaking my heart right now. Um, what turns you off? What is this a complete like? It might as well just be like the worst thing ever.
uh,
Auto combos.
yeah, it's when people use like phrases like that. That's kind of annoying, but not really the most annoying thing. Another question. That's another thing that's hard to think of like on the spot as one of my least favorite things because I dislike a few things, but I
Gotta
don't
give
know
us
if
the number
it's
one thing.
the number one thing.
Yeah, what just gets you just like, you're just like, I don't even want to deal.
Um, hmm. I'm actually kind of like a pretty docile person. Like I'm not. I'm pretty accepting of a lot of things, and I don't necessarily hate you for doing something that I dislike.
I'll find something.
Yeah.
I'll find something you hate, and we'll revise
Oh,
and come back one day.
yeah.
Um, okay, what is your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse
Are you
word.
allowed to curse? I don't want you to get in trouble. I'm sorry. This is too easy. It's too easy. What is your favorite curse word?
I find that I say shit a lot. Probably because like when I just mess up something, it's almost instinctual for me to just say it.
Just shit.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just so easy. It just rolls off the tongue. It just really
what?
does.
Just such a beautiful word.
The
Um,
English language is
that's a
so
clean
good one.
burning shit. What sound or noise do you love?
uh, what sound or noise?
Yeah,
Uh, Honestly, most individual sounds and noises kind of annoy me. Honestly, I don't
you
know if I actually love any.
you are one odd carrot.
I really am.
What sound or noise do you hate then?
Oh, okay. So, like a pen clicking repeatedly is one that like I really hate because like this relates to school somewhat, and I always hear it,
I
and
have
really gets on my nerves when I'm taking a test or something, and I hear like a pen clicking like repeatedly, and it really like messes with my brain.
I have caps to my pens. I can't click them.
Yeah.
Um, what profession other than your own? So this is gonna be. I'm gonna have to ask you.
Profession.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? So is there something you would like to attempt out there?
Well, I don't have a profession currently, so I'm just going to answer the second question. I'd like to be uh, in the field of computer programming. I think it
Okay.
interests me so much. When I was younger, I used to experiment with this program called RPG Maker XP, and I learned a little bit about the language, which was a modification of Ruby, and it was called RGSS, called Ruby Game Scripting System. So when I was playing around with that, I found it actually kind of interesting to see what effects it would have on the game itself. And yeah, I learned a little bit about it, but eventually, around the time I got into Smash, I kind of lost interest in it. But my fire for learning like computer programming hasn't ended there.
What profession would you not want to do?
Uh, Public service, like being a waiter, or yeah, I couldn't deal with some people really.
Dude, you
I know I
realize
said I
you
was
realize
pretty
when you got to
successful.
pay off like those student loans, you're probably gonna end up being a waiter, right? That's
Yeah,
like 98% of the
if
people.
that does happen, or like I work at McDonald's or something, it's gonna be rough, but you make it through.
You make it, yeah,
Yeah.
you got to. So the last question is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
What would I like to hear God say? Uh,
Come on,
I think it
Bobby.
would be funny. I think it would be funny if God spoke like Doc Lewis from Punch Out. I
I
don't
didn't
know if I
ask
ever
what you
wrote
wanted
that.
him to sound like. I asked what did you want him to say.
Oh, what did I want him to say? Huh. Hmm. Other than like potato, I don't really know.
Oh God.
He'd know me then.
All
He'd be
right,
like
so
my favorite human.
that is
That's
the last question of the rapid question. So we're gonna open up the Q&A, and I already saw something that Guru asked that just is so fantastic that I got to open up with it while I wait for other questions to come in. Who is the
Untouchables in the chat right now saying potato.
who is the best player in free saltines?
Who is the best player in free saltines?
Rachel just kind of
Oh boy.
threw out a sound when
Gonna-
she heard that question.
Someone's gonna get mad whatever I say, but I know I'm not gonna say it's me. Don't worry, guys. But at this point in time, I believe it's Gallo. Yesterday, he actually beat Professor Pro twice with the JV four stock in one of the matches in grand finals. It looked like total destruction, and he had a pretty hard bracket, so he beat DJ as well. And I don't know if Vans is in his bracket,
So
but
really
he's
really
beaten Vans
quick,
before as well.
my girlfriend right there,
Hi, Rachel.
who is Rachel. Yeah, she actually said exactly what you said. She when she heard the question, she goes, "Well, Gallo did beat Professor Pro yesterday,"
Yeah.
and that gives you
Guru's like, wow, I'm hurt.
let, okay. So let's see if there was any questions that would throw it out. Um, I bet. Oh, Keyman made a comment. I bet you would want God to say, "We have real Pokemon here."
That'd be pretty cool if they
Um,
actually existed.
Gallo recommended your new tag be Mickey D's Frozen, MCDS Frozen. Lunchables did say potato quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Gallo did mention that docile my dick,
Oh
toward
yeah,
you being
because
docile.
I know I'm around pretty. All right, so I should have mentioned this earlier. I'm a little bit of a different person when I'm around Smash players than I am around other people who don't really know that I play Smash or anything. Like in the Smash community, I try to shit talk, and sometimes it sounds really forced. Unlike most New Yorkers, I don't know if you've ever heard how to like shit talk people, but sometimes it comes out.
Oh God, are we losing Frozen?
Players,
Okay,
like a
we're good. We're
particular
good.
Ike player, I know.
So,
I won't give out names.
so Nizza has two questions. First question is: does Lucario actually have a bad neutral game, or is it something people just say because they don't understand Lucario? I think he has a bad neutral game.
I think it's mostly a myth conspired by Lucario players. I believe probably in 2.5, his neutral was pretty weak, especially in comparison to the rest of the cast when the power level was quite a bit higher than it was now. But in 3.5, I don't quite believe that. He has a great dash dance. He has a pretty good dash attack, and he has down B cancel, which is pretty ridiculous. It has invincibility when he tries to cancel a move. So yeah,
Hold on, waiting for your internet to cooperate a little bit better. You might have lost him. A little frozen right now. Frozen's frozen. The internet, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I think it's a great way to stay in shape. So we're gonna give it some time. Wait out. While we're doing that, we'll fill up with shameless plugs and whatnot. So if you guys haven't caught episode 1 and 2 of the Salt Mines, they're both up on YouTube right now at youtube.com/messynyc live. We had Eli join us last week, and he said some questionable things, but very funny things about Mewtwo King. We covered the Alex Strife thing for about 2 minutes before I ran out of there like I was on fire. Um, Also, special thanks to AC267 who donated last night $12 toward the new microphone that I'm looking to get for interviews and things like that. So that was really cool of him. We did get a new follower. I don't want to shout that out until we're officially done with the interview because I don't want to interrupt anything. Although we're kind of interrupted due to the internet. If you guys aren't
okay.
aware, oh hi, welcome back.
Yeah, my brother disconnected the router.
I was gonna actually blame the weather, but that works too.
No,
Whenever you're ready, turn your camera back on.
okay, yeah. I have to turn that on right now. You look a little weird for a second. Okay.
There is a second part to that question. It says Kanye struggles with floaties as Lucario.
Right.
Luigi is particularly hard for him. Does Lucario struggle against floaties, or is it purely because comboing floaties is hard? How does Lucario's combo game change when fighting floaties like Luigi, I'm assuming he meant?
So Luigi's kind of an interesting case because not only does he have his floatiness and his combo breaker nair and everything he really needs to get out of Lucario's pressure, he also has pretty strong burst movement and a strong wave dash to get inside Lucario's space. Um, and it can be tough for Lucario to react. He doesn't have the greatest out of shields options to really punish Luigi that well. And in previous versions, especially, his shield was pretty small, so he'd get pestered by Luigi's double aerials on shields and he would shield poke a lot. Um, as for comboing floaties, I generally don't try to string too long on them. I just generally just try to hold better position versus them because as long as they're above you and you close off their stage space, you still have a positional advantage. You can still punish their move on reaction. Like if Luigi throws out an air, you can obviously punish it if you bait it out. So yeah, I generally don't try to just rush them down like and do zero death combos on floaties. Yeah, it can be kind of hard. And regarding his crouch cancel, because Luigi is a solid down smash, and yeah, his down smash is really good. I
Um,
generally try to down tilt them because even at 0%, his sweet spot down tilt will break any crouch cancel besides Bowser's.
Another question. Well, Nizza said that you did cut off toward the answering the neutral.
Right, my
That's
bad.
fine. If there's any way you can just get a hold of him and answer that question afterward, only for the sake of just kind of keeping it going.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know we're all kind of connected on Facebook and stuff.
Right.
Um, let's see. Frozen, Lunchables, Wizrobe, and then Little something. I don't know. It's asterisked out. Round robin. Who would win? So you, Lunchables, Wizrobe, and someone else round robin.
Who's someone else?
I don't know. It says little and then asterisk asterisk asterisk. Does that come up over there? No, it doesn't.
Like doesn't ring a bell.
Maybe
Um, I
maybe he's just
haven't
calling you
seen
guys little shits.
I haven't seen Wizrobe play PM since 3.0, so I don't. I think it's hard to accurately judge him. I know he does really well in melee right now, but I'd like to see him play PM a little before I have a proper opinion on how he is. As for Lunchables versus me, I think Lunchables is probably a better player right now.
Are you ever gonna give yourself credit?
I uh I sort of do, I guess. I'm a little modest, I guess you could say, but I guess it's not modest of me to say I am. There
So,
you go.
okay. Um, so obviously you can't talk too much about what's going on in the background, in terms of like PM and what's going on in the dev room and stuff. Was there is there anything that really excited you about 3.5 before 3.5 came out? And without mentioning too much, is there anything that's really exciting you about maybe upcoming patch?
I can't really say anything about the upcoming patch at all, or any upcoming versions that
Okay.
are might be coming. But the thing that excited me most about 3.5 was just that the game as a whole, besides the game as a whole feeling better, which I guess was expected, um, there were two things. First, I didn't feel as guilty for playing Mewtwo and winning against people because in 3.0 there's always this dirty feeling inside me where if I want Mewtwo, it feels like it will be a little less legitimate because 3.0 Mewtwo was debatably the best character in the game. And but as for things that excited me in 3.5 the most, I would say all new aesthetics. Like if you compare to 3.5 right now, if you compare to 3.0 right now, the 3.5 menus and the fact that we have our own theme now, it just looks like we made so much progress since like even the very beginning in 1.0 where Mark with still like super wave dash should be tried like his up B in weird positions. Like we feel like such a legitimate game right now that you couldn't tell Brawl was a thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go that far. Then I'll
Not
have
to give
like I'll have
not to
yeah,
like give shots
I'll
to
have like
like
an
Brawl at
angry
all.
email coming at me. I played
Uh-huh.
Brawl and I don't like what you said.
Oh, don't worry.
so I mean I mean you can't really talk about too much what's going on at in 4.0 and whatnot. And I do have to agree with you. Like seeing Dreamland again in 3.5 and how pretty it looked.
The
And you're
HD
just,
remakes look incredible.
um
I think the art team is like some of the most talented people.
Okay, let's see. Any questions? Any questions? Frozen is too modest. The crew always talks smack for him. Um, I think that's 100% true.
Yeah.
And Guru, when you coming through for Salt Mines episode 3 or 4 or something? Um, and yeah, guys, if you do want to catch more of Frozen, he is gonna be around for Salt Mines episodes.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be around.
whether he's representing just the FS crew or if he's representing the dev team, that's kind of up to whoever we have. Like the upcoming episode, we're gonna have Niz on there, kind of talking about what's going on in the Boston Smash community and what's going on over there. I think they have an
Also
event
a
coming
very
up.
underrated community because um, there's not really a stream for like there's not really a big stream like BG Bootcamp for either like Massachusetts or Tri-State. So we need more eyes on us, honestly.
So going back to the question or to the statement you made about like you didn't feel like some of your wins were legitimized because you played Mewtwo. Do you ever just get tired of that, where you play a character that you enjoy, but because it happens to be good at that point, you're just like, no one is
Oh,
gonna love me.
absolutely. In 2.1, I used Lucario. I don't know if you played 2.1, Messi, but in 2.1, Lucario was pretty crazy good.
You might as well just say I started playing in 3.5 because I barely touched
Okay.
3.0. One of the funniest thing that I see Gallo constantly reference, especially after last night. And if you guys missed it, Gallo, you know, 3-0'd Professor Pro in grand finals here at Nebs. It was from what I like the fact that my phone was getting text messages just kind of gives you an idea of how ridiculous it was.
Mhm.
But afterwards, Gallo's favorite quote of the night was check the patch notes because everyone was making fun of Mario. And do you ever feel like you have to do that sometimes, where someone's like, "Oh,
Oh,
you play this character," you're like,
absolutely.
"Hey, everything
I
just went."
still get a few Johns about 3.5 Mewtwo, even as he is right now, which I still think he's a very solid character in general. I don't think he's bad at all. I can't, like, if I lose a match, I won't blame it on the character or anything. I know it's my job to improve as a player.
So we have a great question from Lunchables, and Lunchables, thank you for tuning in, man, because I do see you around all over the place, especially on Reddit. Um, the question was, what are your opinions on the 3.5 mains in terms of tier list? Um, So basically, I guess like a top five of what you think is like just your tier list, top five.
Oh, my personal top five.
Yeah. I mean, we had a small
Okay.
discussion with Gallo about this when we were over his house, but I want to hear what, because I know you don't have Marth as high as Gallo does.
I do not.
Gallo's
I
very
still think she's
salty
a
toward the
solid
tiara.
character. Yeah. I think what influences our opinion somewhat is that Martha is very good versus Mario in particular. And because of that, I feel like
Oh
there
wait
may
wait
be a
wait wait
little bit
wait
of
wait
bias.
wait 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 wait
What?
wait
Uh oh.
wait wait wait. I'm sorry.
Am I
Lunchables
branching off?
Lunchables. No no no. Lunchables is just correcting me. The question is phrased. What are your opinions on your 3.5 mains in terms of their tier list? My apologies. So
Oh,
basically, um, what do you what do you feel in terms of Mewtwo and Lucario where they fall on the tier list?
well, I don't really use Lucario too much anymore, but I will comment on him too. I mostly use Mewtwo and Zero Suit and sometimes Lucario. And as for where I place him on a tier list, I think Mewtwo's quite high. I think he might have potential to be top 10. He's a very skill ceiling heavy character. It's difficult to get used to him, especially if you came from another character because he's so weird in terms of regular Smash fundamentals. But I think he has potential to be top 10 or probably around the top 15-ish area. Zero Suit, I think, is an underrated character personally. I know people sometimes say she's like, oh, it's just Falcon with no knee or kill power or throw setup, but she's overall, I think she's a little bit more mobile and she has a projectile and disjoints and a better recovery. Um, I think she can really capitalize on positional advantage more than Falcon can, even though Falcon gets more conversions. I think Zero Suit is more evasive in general, and she definitely has potential to be quite solid. I don't think she's bad at all. Now, Lucario, I think is one of the best characters of the game right now. Like,
Hmm. Okay.
um, I think he's definitely top 10,
I've seen
but
more Lucario mains. That's
of
for
course,
sure.
my word isn't gospel at all, but I believe he's top 10 at least.
So now you can go ahead answer the question. Your top five, your personal tier list, how you feel about it, and then there's a question from Gallo that's gonna make me laugh because it's gonna put you in an odd position.
Uh, okay, so my personal top five. I think the best characters in the game right now are probably Fox and Wolf, and that's because they have great mobility specs. They have great kill power options. Their recoveries are decent. They're not bad. They're not the greatest, but like they're not necessarily bad. They have options to make it back to the stage, and they have great shield pressure options too. Like that frame one shine is a really good option to have, no matter which character you put it on. But I think um, what's also why I think Fox and Wolf might be the best right now is because they weren't really changed at all, and other characters were in somewhat radical alterations. So, of course, as this early metagame, Fox and Wolf were obviously, well, especially Fox's case, might be showing to be a little bit overwhelming right now. But I think as time goes on, we'll see a little more variance in top results. Because I know right now in a lot of tournaments we see melee characters winning. Like on early Xanadu, we saw a bunch of Sheiks and Fox, and yeah, mm-hmm.
So Fox, Wolf,
Yeah. So
one
those,
and two.
I believe Wolf has a lot of potential in
What
general.
about
I don't
three, four, and
know.
five, man? I asked top five.
Yeah, I know.
You're killing me, Smalls.
So I also believe Sheik is a really good character
Top
in
five,
general.
good.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially. Oh, you are dodging bullets on this question. So let's go to the question
It's
that
hard,
Gallo. Let's
but
go to the Gallo question. And by the way, if I remember correctly, the list we put together were at Gallo's house. You disagreed on Marth, but I believe it was Fox, Falco, Marth, and Wolf were tied, and then Sheik was in there also. And I can't remember who rounded up the top five, but it was another melee character. Um, the question is, who is the most overrated and underrated player in your opinion?
player. Oh, I thought you were
Oh,
about to say character with how you were like
oh no no
leading
because
up to
it
that.
because now you have to put people's lives in your question, and that I think is
Oh.
gonna make you a little more uncomfortable answering.
Okay. So I think we actually had a discussion about this in another Facebook group, but I feel like someone that's very underrated right now is um hmm,
Can I guess?
all right, go ahead.
Stereo Kid.
That was actually gonna be one of my two guesses. And I also say Guru Kid because they're both very intelligent and good players that don't seem to really get a lot of exposure. And I know Stereo Kid did get fifth at Flex Zone though, so he's breaking out as a really known name.
Well, no, I still think I think that's actually one of the more reasons why he is underrated because the reception he got
Yeah,
outside of people that actually know him, even after Flex Zone, was kind of
yeah.
like, ah, it's an anomaly. It won't happen again. Where, from what I
Where they were like,
understand,
who is this guy and
yeah.
who's this next guy who's placing fifth?
Yet when I talk to people that are closer to him and they're like, no, this is something coming up. Like this is something that we saw coming. His skill
Yeah,
potential and like he put in because Stereo Kid. My first Nebulous was in the summer and then I stopped going because of work. Stereo Kid knocked me out and he's like I remember
that was your first tournament loss, I guess.
it was Stereo Kid. Went really well. Went really well. Um, okay. Someone said, what about Poob?
Ooh, I've actually known Poog for quite a while before he actually started going to tournaments. He was the Jabesti player as well. Um, he always he always was pretty good. I think I personally never thought of him as underrated because I knew him, but now with him doing really well at tournaments and especially as DK, a character that you don't really see much of these days, he's really making a name for himself. Although I think he had a name for himself previously in 3.0, so I don't think he's like a newish player in terms of 3.5 stuff. So yeah,
So now obviously everyone is vouching for their guy right now.
yeah.
What about Dark Blues? What about Poob? What about Sora? But let me ask you a
People are
question.
just sleeping on everyone.
Who? Yeah, everyone's asleep. Who is the most overrated player?
Oh man, you're gonna have to make me take shots like this.
Oh, listen. After what Eli did last week on Salt Mines, anything you say will be tamed.
What did you say last week?
He
I
went
wasn't
off
ready.
on he went off on Mewtwo King. It was hilarious.
Oh boy.
You guys need to, if you guys haven't seen that, it's on my YouTube. It's really good. But who do you think is the most overrated player?
Man, I feel like I'm gonna hurt feelings for this.
Just pretend no one has feelings. Pretend it's the internet.
I don't really know if I want to answer this question though, because
This, this is the
uh,
it's the,
yeah.
the the live interview with like 60 minutes. You're gonna have to answer the question. It was asked by a
Are you sure I
loving a
can't
loving
dodge
viewer.
the bullet in this one?
No, I want to hear it because it's gonna make me laugh.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. Um. All right. So, one of the players that came to my mind first was Sethlon. And the reason I say that is because not because Sethlon like not a great player, because he absolutely is. Um, I just want to, I just whenever, um, it seems that he has a really, really, really huge following and quote unquote dick writers that I almost never fail to see Reddit posts about some random combo he did that wasn't like some of them aren't even like the most impressive things. I just feel like he's absolutely like a wonderful player, but I feel like he gets a lot and a lot of exposure
I
compared to
love
other
I
players.
love how you're
Yeah,
backing off on your answer.
I know I
Um,
really am because I don't want him to hate me or anything. I'm
let me
sorry, Stefan.
let me let me let me let me try to clear up what he's saying. He thinks Satham is really great. He thinks he just gets a lot of love because he plays Roy, and no one really plays Roy, and people love Roy
And
because Roy.
Tournament in general has a lot of exposure compared to like other regions may have like as great players.
So
So it's not really his fault in that regard
it's
because
not his fault. It's not. It's obviously it's your fault. Um,
yes, it's totally my fault.
so
My bad.
let's see if there's any other questions on here. Um, okay, so Torbanto, said, Frozen, can you tell the PMBR to give Zero Suit Samus throws that have utility?
Well, I'm always open to giving suggestions on behalf of others, but I will say with Zero Suit Samus's speed and general ability to get grabs, there's generally a balance that we usually distribute between the reliability of getting grabbed and the reward of getting grabbed, and whether it actually flows into their playstyle as well. Like someone like Link, who has a pretty awful grab in terms of end lag and startup, he has a very potent down throw, which combos into his skill moves quite well, or combos at almost every percent. But that's because he won't be landing many grabs, especially like out of shield or like impression situations. Zero Suit, on the other hand, gets grabs quite easily compared to most of the cats because she has a great dash dance and grab range comparable to Sheik, which is quite large. So giving her throws that would general combo utility might be quite overwhelming.
So I just want you to know that chat is like getting together a money match for you and Seth.
Oh my god! Don't
So
make expose me now.
so good. So good luck with that. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you think about matchups against floaty characters like Samus, Jiggly, or even Mewtwo Dittos? Obviously, you can kill earlier with up throw, but in my opinion, they're much harder to combo out of grab. And that comes from AC267, which I don't know if you remember. That's actually one of the people that actually called you randomly on Skype to get on and answer a couple questions for him. And also, he's the person that I mentioned earlier, which was nice enough to donate $12 toward the new microphone for the stream. So he's basically asking, as Mewtwo, what do you do against floaty people? Because he feels like it's actually more difficult to combo out of grab because of their floatiness.
Well, Mewtwo only really gets combos out of up throw on fast fallers. On mid weights, you can get down throw tech chases or back throw them off the stage, but Mewtwo in general doesn't really get combos off throws as long as you DI correctly, which some people still don't do, and that's DI forward because it will cover down throw, it will cover back throw, and if you see forward throw coming out, you have a whole lifetime to react to that and DI the other way. And up throw is 90 degrees, so you can DI that right or left. It doesn't matter which, you'll go to the same knockback distance. But in terms of fighting floaty characters, I generally try to just keep my bubble up. Well, I'm not referring to shield at all, but like have like a zone around me where I can space my tilts, and if they get close to me, I can punish them. Mewtwo can still punish floaties quite hard with hover nair. One of the best kill options of floaties is my personal favorite, hover nair into grab, which I'm pretty sure if you watch any videos of mine, you see that set up quite a lot. And up throw is just the best, most reliable thing on floaties. Like on Samus, she'll be lucky to live past 100.
Which is ridiculous because Samus always finds ways to just live.
Always a more patient matchup versus floaties, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like the difference in playstyle you have to exhibit versus floaties as compared to fast fallers, which actually I consider myself a little weaker versus fast fallers than floaties.
And I think that also benefits you a lot in Smash 4 because I do see you play a lot of Smash 4 and you're pretty successful at that too. And I think that kind of shows. There's a great question by Cummings, which is there a character that you want to see represented more in the game?
Yeah. Okay. So, right now, I'd say it's Wolf. Yeah.
You want to see him represented more?
Because in 3.5, you don't see him that much, honestly.
He's so good.
Yeah, I know he's a great character, but
what about the Olimars out there? Don't you miss Olimar? Remember when he was a thing?
I miss him, but I don't think he's.
Whoa! Sorry, guys, my phone's telling me not to go outside. Yeah.
I don't think Olimar has a lot of potential to be a good character. If you want my opinion on who would be the worst character in the game, I'd say it's Olimar, almost without a doubt.
Okay, so you feel like Wolf, even because he's so good, you feel like he should be played more.
Yeah, I feel like he has so much potential, and we haven't seen much of that yet. And I'd really like to see Wolf. Like, I feel like his potential to be a touch of death character. Like,
okay.
0 deaths across the board.
I can understand what you're trying to say. You want to see like a top tier player playing a top tier character, just to kind of unwrap the potential of the character and see it like really fun.
I think options is always like a character having options is always more exciting to see.
Really quick, and by the way, I think I was 100% right. I'm glad we cut the questions a little short because there's been a lot of banter from the chat. Really quick, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit follow because you get points for watching my channel. And then when I do,
right there, I think.
wait, where? Right there, because the way the point system works in my channel, you get a point a minute. They reset every single month. So even if you're a new follower, you got a chance to win something. Usually I do like at least one giveaway a month of like a Steam game or something like that because a lot of PC Master Race. So, Ace, let's see. There's a couple more questions. What does Frozen think about?
Oh boy.
This is from one of my favorite and hated followers at the same time. What does Frozen think about Messi or Nox's chances of being a decent player in the competitive scene? Does he think that either of them have a chance to take a set from Gallo? Scumbag Keyman.
That's such a specific question.
I'm gonna defend. Right, so I'm gonna defend myself real quick before you answer this question.
Okay.
I played you at Gallo's house. I wanted to kill myself. All right, it was like the worst 3 hours of my life. And you came over, and I was able to get you to last duck a couple times. So I do improve. I swear. Yeah, that being said, me and Mike suck.
All right. Started with 0.5.
Yeah, I did start. I started.
Yeah.
I tell the story all the time. I remember hitting up Gallo on Facebook to come over and play Smash 4. And like an hour and a half into it, we were like, "Why are we playing Smash 4?" And no disrespect to Smash 4, I think it's a great game. I actually play it from time to time. I have no problem with it. But it was like an hour and a half into it, and out of nowhere, we're like, "All right, let's throw in PM." And I got housed by Gallo for like 4 hours, but it was such an awesome feeling. And I seeing like my favorite character Mario played that way, and seeing like you mentioned with Wolf, you want to see like these crazy things.
Yeah.
That's when I decided it was
And that's
December
exactly what
1st.
Mario does too. He's a touch of death character. He gets
This
in on you, and then you're dead.
Yeah, so December 1st is what was like my official start date for like I want to take this game competitively. I started streaming it more. I stream it like 3 nights a week. Guaranteed like one interview a week, one Salt Mines episode a week, and then like one playing with Netplay, and then I do other things like Hearthstone and stuff. Because people don't realize if you play Smash a lot, that shit hurts your hands. Like
It
I'm gonna
can,
have like
yeah.
decrepit like old man hand at like 30. Sorry, Rach. Um, so the question is, do you think me and Knox will ever take a set off of Gallo?
In the future, it could happen. Yeah,
Future.
future. I mean, you like you still have a ways to go. Obviously, you're still new to like playing PM and competitive Smash, so it's a really hard question to answer because we don't honestly know at this point. I say right now, probably not, but and not to no offense to you, but I'm pretty sure you do
Night
better.
Nizza.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I want to be the surprise person.
Thanks for not like blowing up on me.
Okay, so let's see. Eli's question. Ooh, Eli's shooting at me right now. It makes me very sad. So let's see.
Oh,
Where's you and Eli's question? AC had a question about neutral game. Where is it? I'm looking. Mario's all right. Um, there's I see a kappa, so I'm assuming that question is a joke, which is basically, what do you think about Day to Day being the best character in the game?
oh, he absolutely is. How did I ever forget about DDD?
Apollo is actually asking, do you prefer PM over Smash 4?
I do, and that's no disrespect to Smash 4 at all, because obviously it's a playstyle thing. But I love the interactions that occur in PM. Um, I feel like the larger punish game in PM is fits me better, but I like the focus more on neutral and footsies in Smash 4 as well. I think it's an interesting dynamic, and although I prefer PM better, yeah, kind of
Love it.
cut myself off
No, it's
there.
okay. It's okay. You're allowed to do that. That is actually is a great question, and I just spotted it again, and Gallo was nice enough to actually repost it. Why did you join FS?
Why did I join FS?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of was added, but
Was
of
it was it the drug money?
course, but it was at Apex 2014 where I knew Gallo and I sort of knew Guru from beforehand to my first tournament, and I knew Gallo from the Bestia like a long time ago, and I needed to room with someone at yeah, I needed to find a room for Apex, and the FS people were nice enough to let me stay with them.
So you
So
were using them for housing. That's
kind of.
that's despicable stuff, man.
Actually, Narc as well. That's kind of how he started out too.
Um,
And when I beat Salem, that's when they accepted me like, into their tribe.
okay. I hope it was all no fires around and
Yeah,
people
I had to go
playing,
through the ritual and everything.
walking
Like,
on coals.
cut off a toe, all
Wow.
that.
That's actually another really great question. Gallo's on point right now with questions. What is the most satisfying victory you've had, and what is the most discouraging loss you had?
Okay, so one of the most discouraging losses, actually, one of the most discouraging losses happened to me yesterday when I was playing Professor Pro, and I was
Yeah.
Um, so it was game three, and this actually went to the last stock too. It was about 100%, and he was close to being able to be killed by my up throw. When I think it was on his third stock, and I was in my second, when I was comboing him, and as I ran up to him and tried to do like a hover cancel up air fair, I forgot what I was trying to do at that moment, but instead of hitting X, my fingers slid over Y, and my Y is conveniently set to footstool and down taunt. So I basically ran up to him and down taunted right in front of Snake, which, as you might expect, that's not a great option. So I got stickied and I subsequently got killed for that stock.
How
And
long do
that
those How long do those
probably
bad losses like last?
Hmm?
In your mind, how long do those bad losses last? You know, before you kind of brush yourself off and pick up.
Um,
Is it just until you get another satisfying win, or is it like a week, a month, next
no,
tournament?
it's nowhere close to that. Really, I sleep it off, and I'm usually good the next day. But during that night, it kind of like on a bus ride back home because I live on Staten Island, as I mentioned before. So it's a ride. It's a quite a long ride back from the tournament to where I live, and
I would have hugged you.
yeah, during that ride back, I sort of ponder on my loss quite a lot. And
I would have just given you the biggest hug. The question now, the flip side, and hopefully, I'm glad you answered the bumming out one quick
yeah,
first. What's the most
absolutely.
satisfying victory you've had?
One of the most satisfying victories I've had. Hmm. Um, I'd say it was actually at a local tournament where, so it was a Mewtwo Ditto with Emu Killer near the end of 3.0's lifespan, where I was finally able to take a set off him in Mewtwo Dittos. That was probably like one of the highest points of my career, actually, because it showed that I really could do it. That's like one of the top goals I had as a Mewtwo player was to beat him in a Ditto set.
Let's see. And it's funny, like looking at chat right now, where Guru and Lunchables and I think some other Gallo members are a little bit older than you, and I think
Lunchables is older than me.
I don't know a lot about Lunchables. I do know about Guru and Gallo. All right, Guru's got a very epic goatee. Um, it's funny how like they kind of differ. They see it as, man, those losses sting for a long time, and you're kind of in that whole, eh,
Well,
I'll
I
get back
feel
on it.
like at first I take my losses a lot harder, and they may have noticed that before.
Mhm.
Like at first, I do kind of get very disappointed, but it lasts less than what they go through.
Question from Eli is, can you diss Lunchables really quick?
Could I diss him really quick?
Yeah, just disrespect him really quick.
We still haven't done our playground money match, and I'll mess him up in that. But yeah, I don't really know what else I could diss him with. That's just like an on the spot question.
And thank you, Gallo, for bringing it up. Don't forget, Shots Fired is around the corner.
Right, I am
Um,
so excited for a PM centric event with $1,000 pop bonus. It's about time we really had one of those at a national.
um,
I'm coming.
and yes, you guys can find Frozen weekly at Nebulous, which is the stream is provided by Free Saltines. It's www.twitch.tv/freesaltines, like the crackers. Um, yeah, I always have to remind people that it's just spelled like you know it. Um, and Lunchable says I don't have my Monopoly money. Um, Arrow says Frozen sucks, but it's Arrow, so I mean it's just kind of like whatever.
Love you too, Arrow.
Yeah. Um, let's see what else. What else? Anything else? If not, if anything, no other questions or anything, we just go ahead and I can send you home.
But I am hope. What are you gonna do?
I'll. It's a great question. Great question. Great question.
Checkmate.
Check. Bobby. Ask Rosen why he hasn't switched to Fox yet, since he is the best character, and he probably forced out Gallo if he swapped.
As much
Keyman likes to start problems, so just be careful with
okay.
these questions.
So I'm a bit of a character loyalist now. Or yeah, I guess like I wasn't kind of before. Like in 2.5 especially, I switched a lot of mains to Peach and Wolf and Ivysaur and a bunch of other characters. But when Mewtwo came out, that was the character I really wanted to be the best with and be good with in general. And I don't think I could ever drop him for another character in PM like ever again.
Okay. And AC267 said, regarding the neutral game, what times do you think it's important to spam
Oops, I
uncharged?
fell out right there.
What? Oh,
My bad.
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, he's drunk. So regarding the neutral game, what times do you think it's important to spam uncharged shadow balls or to keep a fully charged one?
This is actually a question I've been like thinking of before. So, a good thing I relate this to is how Robin's Thunder works. So, Thunder in general is an uncharged shadow ball is a tool that you can use to harass people, but I find that utility of having a 25% projectile in shadow ball that also kills at really early percents is enough to get people to approach you just by having it in general. You don't even have to use it once it's matched, and it could win you matches just because you have access to it, and it's a threat to an opponent just sitting back in neutral and just taking their sweet time. If you charge Shadow Ball, it's definitely threatening. It's like DK charging his Giant Punch. You don't want to let him charge that. And it pressures people into thinking, like, I have to approach you now. And that's where I feel like Mewtwo can excel at, is punishing poor approaches. So that's how usually how I'm going to handle neutral game soon, is that I want to put like that into practice and not really use uncharged Shadow Balls except in select matchups such as Sonic, where it can disrupt his dash dancing and spinning. But I want to try eventually just holding on to charged Shadow Balls and not really using them, but just having it and see what kind of reaction I can get out of my opponents in that fashion.
Okay. Um, you said you've been playing PM since 2013?
Earlier, that was my first offline experience in PM.
Okay.
I've been playing PM since early 2012.
Okay. So this one of the questions is basically how long you've been playing for, from Salad. It's salad, but Salad. Salad 119. Let's see. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I didn't want to keep you here for more than an hour. We're at an hour and 6 minutes.
Really.
Well, you know it's snowing outside, and
yeah, I know. We're just snowed in right now. It's about, I don't even know how much is snowing right now outside, but
so let's just do a quick hype up of things we're working on together before we cut. Salt Mines episode 3 is gonna be
right?
Wednesday. I know for sure Niza's gonna be there. I know Gallo is gonna be there,
Out there.
and actually, I don't know if you're gonna be there.
Uh-oh.
We actually, oops. We do have Junebug on board.
Oh,
it
right.
looks like.
Okay.
So I don't know if
That's
Gallo's.
understandable.
No, no. I don't know if Gallo's sitting out or you are. It's pretty much like a tag you're in kind of a
We'll
situation.
toss a coin.
You'll probably make me panic till the last minute, and I'll get Gallo in there to replace you. You have a habit of that. So we do have Salt Mines episode 3 featuring Junebug and Niza coming up on Wednesday. Myself, and then either Gallo or Frozen. That's going to be really great because you have a lot of different regions being represented there. Pretty much the entire East Coast is going to get some kind of love. Then you have next week. I do have an interview kind of up in the air. Eli, I'm inviting you if you'd like to. Same thing goes for the Gallo. Interview wise,
is that the Gallo?
The Gallo.
Shoulder?
The broadest. Also, really good news is Rogers Base. I don't know if anyone's heard of him before. He does YouTube personality kind of stuff. He's worked for Nintendo and he's worked for Disney. Huge Twitter following. At Rogers Base is also agreed to come on the show, but I'm gonna wait to get a little bit more organization in this hellhole that I got going on over here. See, I'm share screening right now with Frozen, and he sees nothing but just windows everywhere.
I don't see your screen share actually right now.
That's
disconnected.
I think it's better that way. I think it's better that way. So we do have a lot of things lined up for the channel. It's just kind of up in the air. So keep in tune with Reddit, keep in tune with Smashboards, Twitter, things of that nature. That's usually where everything is posted up. And I don't know. I think and then if you guys are interested, and this is where we need you guys to kind of voice your opinion and voice if you want to be a part of it. We have talked to a couple of people. If you are interested in a PM only bi-weekly in the tri-state area, specifically Brooklyn, New York, hit me up.
It's not hard to get to, guys.
It's not at all.
If you're in any of the 5 boroughs, it's not hard to get to. It's right off the queue.
Hit me up. Hit Frozen up. Message me on Reddit. Message me on Twitter at MessyNYC. Message me on Twitch. Whatever you have to do that is the easiest way for you guys. As far as the information I know, it holds at least 100 people. The venue fee would be somewhere around $5, which is very, very good because you can do a little bit higher for singles, and that's going to give better pop bonuses for the people that deserve it. We were talking about how kind of messed up it was that Gallo beat such a premier player on such a small stage.
And how stacked that tournament was on such for how many entrants there were. There were 20 entrants, and I'd say about half of those entrants were players that could do well at a major.
So
yeah,
just keep in touch with us, guys. Thank you again for everyone for stopping by. Another thank you again to AC from last night. AC donating $12 toward the new microphone. Gallo, thank you for being ready to step in because we didn't know where Frozen was until like 5 minutes before we went live. Thank you.
honestly, I seem to be have a habit of doing that.
Everything is going to be up on YouTube, guys. So if you got in a little late, because it is a pretty long interview. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. It's gonna be like an hour and 15. If you
Yeah.
Frozen is 17. I don't know how it works either.
I don't know how that didn't come up in anything. Oh wait, we did.
We did. I called you a child a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's gonna be up on YouTube for you guys. Also, we're waiting for approval from Apple, which should be coming in tomorrow. You'll be able to actually listen to the interviews I'm gonna post up and the actual podcasts themselves of Salt Mines straight from your phone. Download them straight to your phone. Listen to it on the train. Listen to it everywhere you go. That's gonna be up soon. And depending on the attention that gets, I'll definitely expand on that, add more content. If you're a Hearthstone players and looking to do stuff with that too, like there's a lot of expanding we're trying to do at one shot. So your responses and your feedback is awesome. That's why you got to get a hold of me on Reddit and just be honest with me. Hey, your show sucked. Your show needs to do this. Frozen needs to shave his beard, and so do you. Like those are things I'll listen to. Other than that, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time, Mr. Frozen. It's
Thank
been
you.
great, and thanks for everyone tuning in.